John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer, and I am a consumer credit expert. I have spent time at both Equifax, which is one of the consumer credit reporting agencies, and FICO, which is generally recognized for their work in developing credit scoring models, or the FICO score. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about FCRA litigation. And why do you care? You care because it's very likely that if you're watching this, you're a consumer, meaning that you have a personal credit report, you have loans and credit cards and such that appear on your credit report. Because you have a credit report, you also enjoy a variety of rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And many of those, the Fair Credit Reporting Act is almost 50 years old. It's a very lengthy act. And so I'm not going to go through every single one of your rights, but one of your rights is to have an accurate credit report. And if that credit report is incorrect or contains inaccurate information, then you, as the consumer, have the right to challenge that information with the credit reporting agencies and also with the parties that furnish information to the credit reporting agencies, which is usually a financial services organization or a debt collector. If you are unable to get information corrected, then you have the right, obviously, to take your battle to the courts and to sue not only the credit reporting agencies, but also the companies that furnished information to them that you believe to be inaccurate. There are also some other rights that you enjoy under the Act, which can lead to litigation. For example, if a company is accessing your credit report without a legal reason to do so, which is called, in the law, it's referred to as a permissible purpose. So if a company is accessing your credit report without a permissible purpose, obviously, you can sue them because of that, because you're alleging that they're breaking the law because of unauthorized access into your credit reports. And the reason I'm qualified to talk about this topic is I do a lot of expert witness work in the world of Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuits. I've been retained, as of the date of this vlog, over 430 times in those types of lawsuits. And it's generally a consumer suing a credit bureau or a bank or a credit card issuer or a debt collector because of something having to do with information appearing on their credit reports or possibly the alleged unauthorized access into their credit reports. Many consumers may or may not understand what their rights are under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. However, they are considerable. And there are a lot of attorneys, plaintiffs' attorneys, that will assist consumers to leverage their rights under the Act. And so I'm going to give you some statistics just to kind of quantify this issue and give you an idea of just how common these type of lawsuits are. And I'm getting these statistics from a company that I actually know. I know their owner. The name of the company is Web Recon, and Web Recon, among other things, provides statistics about Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuits on their website. The data that I'm about to give you, I'm attributing it to the Web Recon website. So you'll be able to see these stats on their website if you choose to do so. Through January 1st through June 30th of 2020, the number of Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuits that were filed was 2,570. That is an 8.2% increase over the same time period last year, so January 1st, 2019 through June 30th of 2019. Halfway through 2020, there is an 8.2% increase in the number of Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuits. And so why should you care about that? Why does that matter? Well, it matters because in 2019 set an all-time record for Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuits, and 2020 is on pace to exceed 2019. So we're actually on pace to set another record in 2020. And so what this indicates, it indicates that even in the middle of COVID-19, that consumers are choosing to leverage their rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act and to sue organizations that have either allegedly provided incorrect information to credit reports, have allegedly not corrected incorrect information on credit reports, or have allegedly accessed credit reports without a legal permissible purpose under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So what does an FCRA lawsuit look like? It looks like pretty much any other lawsuit. You have generally two sides. You have a plaintiff and you have either one defendant or multiple defendants. And those defendants are usually a credit bureau, multiple credit bureaus, banks, debt collectors. Then the plaintiff is always a consumer, or if it's a class action, then it's multiple consumers. And the consumer would file what's called a complaint, which is essentially notice of the lawsuit, and that complaint is sent. And the complaint lays out their allegations and what sections of the act they believe have been violated, and also indicates what type of damages they believe they've suffered. And so the defense responds to the complaint with something called an answer and responds to every single one of those allegations. And then kind of this, what I call the dance of the lawsuit, begins, where the two sides exchange documents back and forth. It's called discovery. And that's usually where someone like an expert witness like myself is retained. And in many cases, an expert witness is retained on both the plaintiff side and the defense side. And so now you have dueling expert witnesses, which are generally hired to review documents and give opinions about things like damages and as it pertains to the consumer's credit reports. That's generally how the lawsuit works. In my experience, the overwhelming majority of these types of lawsuits settle, meaning that they don't see the inside of a courtroom. In my 16 years of doing this type of work, I've seen the inside of a courtroom about 3% of the time, which means the overwhelming majority of these cases do not see the inside of a courtroom because either they're settled or they just, through other method, usually a legal maneuver by the defense called a summary judgment, where they actually get a legal opinion from the court that the lawsuit without merit and therefore is done. Because these lawsuits almost always settle, there's something called a settlement agreement. And while settlement agreements are almost always confidential, meaning that they're not public for people to go out and look up, I do get an indication from time to time what kind of terms are part of settlement agreements, because in many scenarios I'm asked to review the settlement agreement before it is executed to make sure that the language comports with the expectation of the other side. Meaning things like how you're going to update certain accounts on credit reports, whether you're going to delete or attempt to delete certain things off of credit reports. I usually will review them just to make sure that the language is appropriate and accomplishes what both sides believe is going to be accomplished. And I tell you that the cost of one of these lawsuits is considerable. Even if you win, it's still very expensive to win. And settling these lawsuits can also be very expensive. I've seen settlements excess of 6 figures, and I've also seen settlements that are in the low 5 figures, and some of them in the 4 figures. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the appetite of risk for both sides and whether or not they're amenable to settlement discussions, or if one side is hell-bent on getting millions and millions of dollars and they're headed straight for trial because it's more cost effective to take it to the end than it is to pay a colossal settlement like that. So again, if you feel that your rights under the Fair Credit Reporting Act have been violated, you absolutely have your right as a consumer to pursue your legal rights under the Act and contact a consumer rights attorney. They're very easy to find. Just Google and they will be knocking down your door, and good luck with that. And there's a possibility, depending on who you sue, that I'll see you on the defense side. I do a lot of expert witness work for defendants, so there's a possibility that we may actually run into each other. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.